Yeah.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for coming. Andrea, you can get us started.
Yeah, we're excited that you're joining us yet again, because some of you have been here through the 3 weeks, right? Week 1 and week 2, and now 3. Yeah. No, but as you know, Kemba and I are very passionate about real estate. We love it. Love it, love it, love it. Yesterday we were out after just closing on a property that we're totally thrilled and excited. It's a project that's up and coming. We'll share with you later. For those of you that hang around, you'll get to learn more. But we were literally dancing in front of the property on the street, excited. So we do love real estate, and tonight our focus is largely going to be on networking, because as a part of if you're going to buy, even if it's just one property, there are some key individuals that you'll need to make sure that transaction is successful and that you continue to have success, not just from the pre-approval stage, but all the way through to maybe when you go to buy further or pull from it and buy more. So tonight we're going to focus on networking. And Kemba, let's maybe share a little bit about who we are. As you've heard, I'm Andrea, and Kemba is my business partner. We've started in this real estate journey many, many years ago. I started on my own with my husband, Dean. If you were here, you've heard that already. We built first PW Wealth, a corporation that we've established and have holding properties within. Then together, as Kemba and I met each other in our family, our husbands, our brothers, we decided that we would take it even further and we'd build Keen. And so we've been, doing that together. But again, I'm a mom of 3 girls. And so that's mostly my why for doing real estate. I mean, obviously I love it as well, but if you have a strong why, something that's pushing you, it's likely that any goal or any aspiration that you have will more likely be achieved. And so alongside looking for ways to build wealth. When I was a school teacher, I thought, I bumped into this magazine in the staff room at the time, and it was a Canadian real estate magazine. And I was like, oh, wow, what's this? And I just loved it. And from there, I thought, you know what, this is what I'm going to do. And I just continued researching and finding different ways to not just own my home that we lived in, but multiple properties. And so here I am. Kemba, maybe you can share a little bit about who you are.
Well,
for those that maybe haven't met us yet, right?
Yes. So like Andrea, I'm a mom of 3, married to Andrea's brother-in-law. So our husbands are brothers. And I have been in financial services in banking actually for many years, up till 2021, where I left to do this full time. And it's been, a really amazing journey. To go from a corporate environment to, running your own business. And that's been an interesting time and in interesting times.
Yes.
And so real estate has been something that, I've always been interested in, and investing sort of came upon me where I realized after, I'm investing. And it really took off once I had my kids, because it was like, wow, life is expensive. And, maybe my job is not doing exactly what I need it to do in terms of my income. And so I started investing, and, rental income was really helpful along the way. And so here we are today. So that's a little bit about me and my real estate journey. We can move on.
Like we've done before, maybe if you could just type in the chat. Well, thank you all for coming, because I know some people are still joining. We're so glad that you made it safely home and that you're on with us. But if you could just maybe type in the chat where you're from. Last time we discovered, we had some people from as far as Edmonton in New Mexico, Wasaga Beach. So, I'm from the Brampton area. So I think it's kind of neat to see where people are joining us from, Kitchener-Waterloo. And later in the evening, a lot of familiar places here, Mississauga, Toronto. Later in the evening, we're going to share, just as we wrap up the night, we're going to share with you some giveaways. love to always have some winners. So make sure you pay attention. Take notes. It's always good. The best way to remember Mount Hope, Meadowvale, Melbourne. I see lots of familiar places. You take notes because it's likely going to be the best way to retain the information and maybe even remind yourself of some of the things that you are committing to getting done, or making sure that you remember and recall. So use that opportunity or the opportunity tonight to note take. And of course, if you can, maybe just silence your phone so that it doesn't distract and take away from your opportunity to learn. Absolutely eat your dinner, or take, grab a drink or a coffee or something that you need to sort of keep you refreshed for the evening. We're going to share maybe who we are, a little bit about who we are. I think the furthest I saw really here, Kitchener-Waterloo. So Kemba and I, as I said, prior to joining forces and creating Keen, which, by the way, some people figure it out. The KE stands for Kemba. The AN in Keen is Andrea. And before, coming together, we actually had been doing it many years on our own. And so creating services within Keen that we were already doing just made sense. We help other clients like ourselves, other owners and landlords, tenant their properties, manage their properties. We teach them anything that is related to real estate. So we definitely have a strong and big, including tonight, education piece where we're always making sure that we share our knowledge, our experience, things that we've learned that we know will help you be successful and benefit, and it will be beneficial to you in your real estate journey. We also, and especially myself, Kemba is really passionate about multifamily and multi-units, which I love. I totally agree. They're probably one of the best ways to build wealth in real estate, as well as to generate income for yourself as you're building your real estate portfolio. But I love short-term rentals, and I've done them from, all the way out in Edmonton to here locally in the GTA. And they're very, successful way to generate improved income over long-term rentals. So we help individuals set them up as well as manage them as need be. We provide coaching, something that we knew we needed ourselves in the early part of our real estate journey. We didn't have that support, and we know that with that support, as we got that and we learned more through coaching within a business system that we joined, it helped us flourish and sort of, build and get a much larger portfolio, as well as move outside of our comfort zone, which was local, right? GTA and Toronto area. We could then now, start to buy in places like London and Kingston and across the country in Edmonton. We're in Alberta. So we do consulting. We help you if you have a property, or you have, whether it's your principal or a secondary property that you have and you want to see how to utilize it best, we can help you do that as well. And we bring to you our expert partners that we have within, from mortgage brokers to lawyers and accountants, all the key experts that make your real estate journey successful. We can help lead you to those individuals so that you can continue to expand your portfolio. And like the seminar is about, building generational wealth, it will help you pass on to your children this amazing legacy that you're going to build.
Mm-hmm.
So
and just as we continue, just remember that, as we talk more about investing in real estate, there are risks of investing, and, everything that we're sharing is really our experience. So you have to learn from what we're saying, but understand that you have to get independent advice when you go into investing in real estate.
And if you were here, part one of our series, we covered mindset, and it's crucial that, if you're not having success and things are not going your way, it's likely that you have to make some change or changes. And so mindset is the foundation to your success, because once you start to make the changes, or realizing that there's different ways that you can do things, that more maybe even untraditional or unconventional, you'll more likely find that you can achieve and be successful in whatever your goals are that you set. And so we focused on that initially. And of course, understanding mindset, not just for you, but for the next generation. You can't learn all this and not pass on the knowledge and information to your children, especially if you're passing on, or your family, assets in real estate, because I think it takes knowledge to be successful in real estate, largely because of risks that are associated with it. So the more you can teach your children and have them better prepared, the better for you. Part 2, we focused on the key elements that you need to qualify for to purchase a property: income, capital, and credit. And we will cover and speak to them, not just here again, but definitely as we wrap up in our last session next week. So Kemba, let's continue.
So if you want to go far, or if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, you need to go together. And that really speaks to the need to use your network, to use your, or build a network that will help you to go to where you want to go, especially in real estate. It's really hard to get to the next level, to get to the next stage, or to even get started without, say, the right people in your corner helping you to find the property, helping you to get the capital you need in terms of a mortgage, in terms of the financing, even just guidance along the way, because if you're stuck, you don't want to let it discourage you. So this is what we're going to talk about tonight: leveraging that network.
And with that, before we start with network, because I think who here has checked their credit score in, say, the last 30 days? Maybe you don't have to say what it is. I actually think it's just really good to check. So if you have, just maybe type in the chat that yes, or give a thumbs up. Because one of the things that I discovered very earlier on is how important it is to know what your score is and to know what the report looks like. So as Kemba said, your network is very key and crucial to your success in real estate. And of course, it's directly linked to your net worth. And so if you want to build, I think you've probably heard the saying, something along the lines of, like if the people that you associate with and who you spend most of your days and times with, if you look at who they are and what you're doing, it's likely the two are like linked and tied. So the more successful you want to be, the more you're going to want to associate with and be around people who, exemplify and or reflect that success that you want. So the same too, like if you want to be successful in real estate, you're going to have to gather that team of experts, people that have the knowledge that you need to buy the right property or get into the right location, who can maybe connect you to that specialist, that mortgage broker, that accountant, that, those individuals, maybe even the appraiser or the inspector. I mean, there's so many different individuals that are key to a successful transaction in real estate, that it really is important to make sure that you are connected to those individuals. And sometimes they're people that you might already know. Other times they may be people that you get referred to, and they will also, because even just, I think a day or so ago, Kemba, we got another opportunity in the Kingston area, because we make sure that we keep in touch with some of those key networking individuals so that they can share with us investment opportunities that we can bring to you or to bring to our members, especially when we know that they're specifically looking for something like a multi-unit, or they're looking for a purchase within a certain price range. We pretty much know that the GTA isn't necessarily the place for most people today, based on the price points that you have to start to enter, especially if you're starting for the first time. And so we also find that our network will also bring to us, insider information. They're going to always provide us with the information that we need, so that even when we've never been to an area and we're purchasing there, if we have our, on the ground realtor who knows the area and the neighborhoods, they can tell us if the deal, why does the deal look so amazing maybe it's because it's on the wrong street or in the wrong side of town. And, we don't want to necessarily buy properties that, yes, the numbers make sense and look great, but we can't even tenant them thereafter because no one wants to live in them or live in that street. So it's really important to have, make sure that you build that powerful network. And that this really speaks to that. Kemba, I think we can say that outside of these key individuals, there's all sorts of other individuals that we can name outside of realtors, mortgage brokers, lawyers, and inspectors, accountants. There's appraisers. If you buy a property and for some reason there's something wrong, or something you need to dig further, you're gonna call on those experts to make sure.
I think contractor may be a good one to add here.
Yeah, because sometimes you buy a resale property, right, that needs work.
Yeah.
So
this is a little story we wanted to share with you, just to show you what's possible. And sometimes, getting to where you want to go is not always a straight road. This is one of our clients. She's lovely, and she was able to purchase, like, for a long time she rented. She moved, actually, in I think 10 years, she moved maybe close to 8 times, and she was really frustrated with moving because either the landlord was moving or she moved for work, or there was different reasons, and she was really unsettled and wanted to find her own place. But in Toronto, she was a teacher, she had a teacher salary, and she was single. So at the time she was just frustrated with the market and wanting to get in, but realizing Toronto, Brampton may not be possible just because of the price point. So we started to encourage her to look outside, and she did. So she started looking out in Kitchener and Waterloo area. She started working with one realtor who was really, really not in her best interest, because that realtor was one coming from Brampton and going into the Kitchener area to show her property.
Mm-hmm.
The realtor was actually quite frustrated with the process. And so it wasn't a smooth process. Every time she had to book something, it was challenging. It wasn't her area. She was, would limit the number of showings that she would go do with her because it wasn't her area. And so, that made the finding a property and actually succeeding with a property challenging. Eventually, we encouraged her to just not use that realtor anymore, because even something as simple, and this is not something realtors generally do, but that particular realtor actually charged her for gas one time out there. And as you start working with folks, you realize sometimes the relationship is not good, and you can't let a particular relationship or a particular service provider who's in your network lead you astray. And you have to realize there's times where you might have to let go of that relationship. And so we connected her with a second realtor who was local to Kitchener, and I had worked with her many times. She was, hardworking, and she was, when you meet someone who's trying to do the best they can for you. So this realtor was just that person. So I connected the two. And she went out and found a place. She made maybe about 4 offers. Part of her story too is that she had a small down payment. It was less than 20,000, and so that was also a challenge with getting into the market. So one of the things she did, because there's a lot of programs out there now where you can get assistance with your down payment through partnering with the municipality, partnering with the federal government, where they give you a 5% down. They do take a 5% interest in the property, but they give you that 5%. And when you sell, you just give it back. So it's really an interest-free, but they get equity in your property. So I think that 5% is a small cost to pay, but she signed up for the program. And all this tumultuous time with the first realtor, that program has a 90-day lifespan. Basically, what it happens is once you get into these programs with the government, you have 90 days to find a property. If anybody's been searching in, say, the Toronto or any area in Canada, in Ontario recently, you'll know that the market is so competitive. And you may be searching, even back when I was searching for my first property, it took me 2 years to find it. So to have a program that's there to help you, but only has 90 days is challenging. So there was a lot of pressure. And actually her 90 days expired. She had to go on a waiting list to get back on. And that second round of 90 days when she was on it, it was really challenging because the properties, she couldn't find them. And actually on 3 days before that expiry is when she actually put in an offer that was accepted, and she got the condo. And so, you know, she was ecstatic. We were ecstatic for her, but you know, she needed to go through that process. She finally found a lawyer who would help her, and we connected her with a law firm down there, and even the mortgage broker, because all these pieces had to come together. The mortgage broker had to understand what to do with the government programs. And so you have to have all these people working in your favor and helping you to get to that success. And, you know, and even at the point where she got to the end of her 90 days, you know, we encouraged her to go to the municipality and see what could be done to not let it just, you know, go away. So bringing that all together, you really need a good community of people to help you succeed when it comes to real estate. If you're starting out, or if you're trying to build a multi-million-dollar portfolio, you need the right people in place to help you, or else you will feel frustrated and you may stop. So we just, you know, want to make sure that you share. And you know, this young lady said at the end, you know, the first night she slept in her condo, she's like, that's the best night of sleep I've had, because I know it's my place and nobody's getting me out. So either way, Andrea?
Yes. So along with that story of that client, it's the same pretty much for all of us, right? That the realtor is a significant part of the, you know, the purchase, right? If you have a really strong realtor. And I remember, you know, you might know my story of my first purchase. That first picture there it was really my realtor that made not just the finding this property, you know, possible, but also getting the mortgage, getting the lawyer. And so I really remember thinking, she was pretty much my network, because she led me to all the, you know, salient pieces that then happened after we found this property. And I mean, she was a little driven, I think back then, to help me, because I was convinced that, you know, this had to happen now. I was pushing hard for it to happen before I was graduating from school. I didn't want my student loans to show up. Someone told me, oh, once they show up, they'll be much harder to get approved. And I don't know if that was true or not. I just know that I didn't want that to happen. So it's really key to have a good, strong network, especially, you know, the mortgage broker and the realtor, because I think without those two, you're not going to be successful. And I was never the person that would give up easily. And I hope you who are listening tonight is never the person to give up, because I remember going to the bank asking, the bank was my bank at the time, asking for a mortgage, and they just like flat out said no, right? You know, and I thought, why? Like, where else would I go? I didn't know there was anywhere else to go at the time. But as I said, I wasn't willing to give up. And so when I met the realtor, she said, oh yeah, don't worry. Well, I have someone I can refer you to. And she referred me to someone. And again, I didn't get a bank approval. I got a MCAP, which was, you know, an alternative lending source. And I was fine with that. I didn't know who MCAP was then, and I didn't care. They were giving me a mortgage. And so I was thrilled and happy. And really the next time around when I did this, you know, even in that, I remember I was so young that I didn't realize how important my credit was then. I know I needed it because they asked for it, but as soon as they asked for it and they pulled it, I'd never pulled my credit before. And that's why before this story, I said, who has done it? And I checked in the chat, and oh, so many of you are so on it. You're amazing. Some of you have even got an app that you're using for it, which is fantastic. Just so that you know, a lot of banks offer it free alongside your banking, your banking online, so you can easily have access and you should be familiar, there is more than just Equifax. There's TransUnion and Equifax, and sometimes the two differ, vary. So anyhow, quickly in checking out my score, I realized that I had something negative on my score. Wasn't mine, it was my former partner at the time who, had, I guess, charged something to my credit in my name and ran it up and never paid it. So I had to pay it out. It didn't bruise me enough that I couldn't get approved. It just meant that I had to pay it out. And sometimes at closing of a mortgage or closing of a property, you do have to pay out debt. That wasn't the only time in my journey of real estate purchases that I had to pay out debt, but that was one of the first times. And really, I just want you to understand that the team that you build is so important to making sure that your dreams are realized. And so make sure that if you don't have someone to help you, Marcia, maybe you can just type in the chat Kemba's and I's email so that you can reach out to us. We have a lot of great partnerships they are not directly working with the bank, they're mortgage brokers or mortgage agents, and they will get you the approvals that you need. And either way, if you don't have a pre-approval as yet, anyone yet, sorry, let's see who has gone to get a pre-approval. Say, you're looking to buy maybe in the next 6 months to a year. Have you gone to get a pre-approval as yet?
Mm-hmm.
We just did a pre-approval recently. So, but if you haven't done a pre-approval and you're looking to buy, how do you know how much you can buy? How do you know what you qualify for? And how do you shop according? How do you know, like all the numbers that you need? So if you haven't looked for a pre-approval and you do want, I can check it from our bank. Oh, someone said they can check their credit through their bank. If you're looking to buy, even if it's, your second or next, you should try to see how much you'd be eligible for or what you need to do to get qualified for what you're looking for. So, Kemba, we can move on because I want to make sure that we get to our other stories. So you can share this.
So yeah, this is just an example of a property in Vancouver. So 4567 Cannot Drive. It was sold for $8.5 million just in January. And that's a lot of money. It's a beautiful house, but do you think that's an $8 million house? I don't know. The lights are pretty, but I don't know that it's an $8 million
It's reflecting
house.
in the water too. It looks so.
Yes. It has a moat. Maybe it's a castle, but either way, it's not a castle. It's just a house that has grown in value just because the market has grown in value. And, what we want to just mention is that, in a recent article, RBC just said, visible minorities we could shorten or narrow the wealth gap if we owned more. So, most people have gained from the recent changes in the market because the ownership rates among other ethnic groups and other racialized groups in Canada, like white Canadians, they own more. And so they've really grown in wealth over the last, 20 to 30 years because the real estate market has grown so much. And we need to partake in that more by owning more. And so this series is hopefully going to help you or anyone who's listening or anyone who gets the replays to think, how do we get in? And hopefully this will help you get in.
Yeah, so Kemba, it's not even just over the last 20 years, but even during the pandemic, that article speaks to the fact that just even in the pandemic alone, our white counterparts have grown substantially in wealth. And like you spoke of last week, even the first week rather, when we spoke of when we keep the variables the same, they still outpace us, they still outperform, and they're still building greater wealth. So that article and that house was in that same article that RBC speaks to these numbers. So the stats are still stacked against us. It's still not working in our favor, which is why myself and Kemba feel it's so important to bring the information to you and to give you, help you with your mindset so that you can think like we're showing here, partner to purchase. You don't have to do it alone. You may want to and you may be able to, and that's awesome. But if you can't, could you consider this triplex on, as a option? Because in this triplex, you're still, you might partner with a family member or, two family members, and you each end up with your own apartment within this house. Because in this house, it has 3 separate units. And or maybe you want a bit more space and you decide you want to buy a semi-detached home, because that's what the duplex is here. It's a semi-detached home with 2 units where you live in the main unit and you rent out the basement, generating income. And that income that you generate can help you in the qualification process as well. So when you're buying and maybe you're shy, your income is not enough on its own, look to buy a property potentially that can generate some of that income. And both of these properties, whether it's a triplex or the duplex, both of them generate income. So they can be used to help you with your pre-approval and qualification. So it's, thinking differently, changing your mindset, like we spoke of, is essential to allowing you to get into the market.
Mhm. Yeah, and similarly, when I started investing, this was the first investment property that I got. And, by this time, I had gotten a lot of coaching. I had actually just done a full course on it, and I was so excited. I looked high and low through the market, and I got referred to a agent in Kingston. And that agent actually was quite busy at the time. And so he gave me another referral. And I was very happy because this other referral was just amazing. So you really have to leverage your network by, reaching out to the people they will connect you. Reach out to us, we can connect you. But that's the way you get started in terms of finding a place. So I couldn't afford to buy an investment property in Toronto. Even when I bought this, Toronto was quite out of reach. And
This
for
was
me,
2017 too, right, Kemba, this purchase?
18, yeah, this was 18.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I mean, with that, and then the mortgage broker was really critical in this case because I was new to it. I was learning. I had actually just refinanced. I had just my own home had come up for renewal, and I had renewed it. So I had just locked in for another 5 years, or I just locked into the mortgage. And actually, it wasn't 5 years, it was a variable, but there was still, fees to break your mortgage once you sign on. And if I had known, I wouldn't have done that. So if you're thinking of investing and you have a mortgage renewal coming up, you want to have a strategic plan, think about what you're going to do, because it could cost you money if you renew too quickly. This one was out in like the countryside of Kingston. So, there were some differences about it. I had to learn quite a bit. But the realtor was also very knowledgeable. This was on a well and septic. So basically we didn't have municipal water. So the city didn't provide any of that. That's great for the numbers, but it does require you to be have a little more due diligence and understand that. Checking for bacteria in the water, understanding the septic system, and so on. And so I had to have an inspector to come in, and that inspector had to be really knowledgeable about these things so that I could get the right advice on what to do. The septic tank was actually pretty new, so that was something that assured me I could proceed. Either way, that network is what gave me the confidence to decide yes or no on doing a property 1-2 hours away from where I live. They connected me with the property manager that I would use out there. And, that whole thing came together to allow me to actually succeed. And this property did really well. The income was from 4 units in here. So it did really well for some time. So again, the team makes the dream work.
And you can buy that unit, live in one, and rent out the other 3, and maybe not even have to pay out of your pocket, because maybe the income from the other 3 units can provide you, right, with enough so that you can live there free.
Yeah. And I know for some people it might be restrictive. You may have your family, you may have friends, you may have your job in a certain area, and you're sort of concerned to leave if you want to live in a place that you buy, and you need to go out of your comfort zone or out of your regular local area to get that. But sometimes you can do that for a couple of years and then come back, because by then now you have equity, and you have rental income, and that will help you come back maybe to the area that you want to. It's something worth considering. Anyways, in terms of takeaways, we have 5 key takeaways that we want you to think about. Make sure that you're checking your credit score and your full report as well. It's really important, because when you get to the point where you're ready to take the leap, it really sucks if you find something in your credit report that will hinder you. So a lot of people say, and like you said, Andrea, a lot of people on the call check their credit, monthly, sometimes twice a month. I saw somebody mention a subscription. So there's maybe I'll ask what that subscription is.
Hopefully not paid, because a lot of it is free out there today. You don't have to pay for subscriptions. I find Borrowell is like a subscription. It'll notify you and update you, but there's no cost.
Yeah. But, in terms of just maintaining that score, the full report is also important, because sometimes the score is one thing, but creditors and folks who are looking at your credit more closely may see something on them that might alarm them. So knowing what's on the full report is also important. And working on repairing your credit. If it's not where it needs to be, I've met many people who talk about, their credit, and they're like, oh, it's bad. I actually had a chat with an older gentleman who was about in his 60s or 65, getting ready to retire. And he was really interested in buying a multifamily property. And he stopped himself because he didn't ever pay off his student loans, and he never checked his credit. And he was a gentleman who loved to use cash. He's like, I don't need credit. I can just use cash. But when it came time for him to fulfill his retirement dream of buying a multifamily, he knew, and he had tried to get that multifamily and get a mortgage, but at that point his credit was ruined, because 1, he never used it, and 2, he left a debt from when he was in his 20s. Like I couldn't even believe that he'd gone that long without ever even using it or needing it. But either way, it's important to check and monitor that credit, and if it's in bad shape, definitely there's a way to repair it. And for some people it may take a while. Otherwise, it can be done. It in most cases, it's a lot quicker than you think to repair that credit. And then 2, get a pre-approval. Make sure that if you're interested in buying real estate, you go and see what can you afford. That is your starting point. If you can't afford it, or you have to know where you start. Maybe you go get a pre-approval, and they'll be like, with your income, the most mortgage you'll get is 100,000. Okay. So what do I need to get to 500,000? More income, better credit. They might give you some advice on what you need to do. And if you can't do it, then maybe you can partner up with someone who can get a better approval. So you getting that pre-approval is an important part of understanding where your starting point is, so that you can move from there. Debt solution strategy. So if you have a lot of debt, that ties in with your credit, but at the same time, if you're managing your debt really well, it doesn't necessarily impact your credit negatively. It's actually sometimes something helpful to your credit when you have debt and you're managing it well. But when you're going to look for a mortgage, having high debts, it affects your what's called your debt to service ratios, and it may prevent you from getting the size of mortgage that you'd like to. So reducing that debt, eliminating that debt as much as possible is helpful at that point. Budgeting for ownership. So basically, saving and having that deposit if possible is part of it. But even just understanding what you're going to be taking on once you get into ownership is really important. It's not just a one-time payment. Sometimes, when you think you've been renting for a long time, ownership does require that you have a lot more responsibility. So having a budget for that is important, and having a budget for saving is really important. And then once you have that pre-approval, your next thing is locations that fit your approval. If you're not able to significantly change that approval, by partnering with someone, or like, how do you find locations that would fit that? So, and that's all part of changing your mindset. If ownership is going to be part of your journey, you might just have to move.
Yes.
We have quite a few questions in the chat.
Yeah, I think some credit stuff. So we do, if credit is a concern, we absolutely have a session that we cover a lot of in more detail. But if someone asks, what if your score is good, but you have a public record or student debt? How does that affect your score? Like, how does it affect your ability to get financing?
Mm-hmm. So in terms of anything that you have as debt, where you're what we call servicing the debt, meaning that you're paying towards that debt, will affect any calculation of what more debt you can take on. So for example, if your mortgage is going to be $1,000, but you already have $1,000 payment that you're making to service certain debts, like to pay down certain debts, they're not going to be willing to give you that mortgage, which is an additional $1,000, if they don't feel your income can sustain or support that payment to the mortgage. So that's why having other debts when you're going to get a mortgage pre-approval can hinder you. So it's important to try to get rid of those debts before you go in.
Or to reduce them, right? Because even in general, the standard is if you can keep your debt under 30% of the utilization, it will really help you in keeping your score higher. And of course, but I mean, you could have 30 of those, and then like Kemba says, it's still going to hinder and hold you back when you look at your debt service ratio. The other question, and I think some of you are probably familiar, we're in our email, if you've been coming in our email, we will provide you with a resource for credit as well, a book that we've written that is free for you to download. It's a thank you gift for joining us. So if you want access to that, when you get the email, you'll be able to do that. What should you be looking for in your credit when you're getting the full credit report? Well, you want to look for accuracy. You want to make sure that the information that is reported on there accurately reflects you, because I will tell you time and time again, and because I've gone for many approvals over the years, I often discover that there's debt on there that's not mine, and it has to be removed. And so I have to file accordingly to have it removed. So you're checking for accuracy to make sure that the debt that's or whatever is reflected on the report is you, and that someone else hasn't used your credit. You're also checking to see, what the scores look like, and whether you're repeatedly missing payments and not paying on time, because that also affects your score. And if you find that there's inaccurate information, you can contest it and have it adjusted. Sometimes it means reaching out to the bureau. Sometimes it means reaching out to the actual institution that has that debt. I found myself my name is pretty common, Andrea Williams. I've tried to keep the peer to help reduce the fraud that happens. And so for sure, I've never owned a MasterCard through, I believe it's a MasterCard Walmart, but over 2 or 3 times over the years, I've had MasterCard debts. I mean, $10,000 of Walmart debt that I've never used. And so Walmart, I have to get it removed, but it's a long process. So you want to make sure you attend to those things.
For sure. So yeah, even email us if you have questions, or you think that you're ready to do that pre-approval, because it's important to understand where you are and where you need to get to.
So Kemba, for part 1 and 2, for someone that's missed it, is it available on YouTube, or can we send it to?
Yeah, guys, subscribe to our channel on YouTube. We'll send it out. Actually, Marcia, if you add it to the chat, then you can get the replays. We have sent them out in past emails, and maybe we can include some links. It's just we can include
for someone who's missed it, Marcia, if you just give them in the chat the YouTube link, they can subscribe, and you'll always get updates as to when we have something new or something that is of value. So we're coming to wrapping here, and really, like Kemba and I are doing this largely to change the statistics and the data that we just saw that earlier in this, where RBC says no matter pretty much as people have been able to amass substantial wealth in the last, almost 24 months with the pandemic, it hasn't been the case for us. And so in order to change those stats, we created this wealth building series. We've created building generational wealth because, one, we love what we do, and we know that the information is not readily available out there. And if I can ask a few questions, like, for example, if you are trying to, like, if you haven't gone for a pre-approval, why haven't you gone for one? It doesn't cost anything. Yes, you have to put together and provide some documentation, but do it, because when you do that pre-approval, and someone asked, can we do it through our organization? Absolutely. We have, and I wouldn't say that you have to go to a bank to do it, but you can start at the bank if you have a bank, right? Just to say that if you're working with someone, ask them if they could provide you with what you would be approved for, and or reach out to us. We have our emails in the chat so that we can get you connected with someone who can tell you. There's no cost. We don't even have to do a credit check. The credit check we would never ask to be done until you're actually going to go for a purchase and approval that you need to finance, because you don't want to pull your credit unnecessarily.
Yes, but Andrea, that's why we ask people to check their credit and monitor it, right? Because if you go to a broker and you say, hey, I'm ready for pre-approval, they look at your income, they don't pull your credit, they just sort of say, okay, is it in a good state? And you say yes. But when you get to the point where they're actually doing a real approval, if you haven't actually checked your credit, it's the mortgage broker can do nothing for you if that lending institution says, whoa, that credit is not so good. So it's really important why you preemptively check and fix and monitor that credit, so that when you get to that point, there are no surprises and there's nothing that stops you from moving forward.
Yeah, and there's no cost for you to check, and it doesn't affect your score when you check. You can pull it as many times as you want and check as many times as you want. It doesn't affect it. It's the third party, like the lender and the brokers, that would have an effect on your score. So, if, like, I know for me, starting out initially and buying my first purchase, some of the challenges was I didn't have a lot of savings. If that's you, the wealth building series is good for you. If you are struggling with debt and budgeting, and like you're thinking, how do I get savings and debt happening at the same time? Because on my first purchase, when I was doing it, I absolutely had debt. I told you, coming out of school at university, I had a student loan. I knew it was going to start to appear on my credit. Before it appeared on my credit, I made sure I went for my approval, because I knew it would change my debt to service income ratio. So, we all have very similar variables when we're starting out, but how willing are you to work through and fix those things, or do what you need to get it done? And the wealth building series is definitely not for someone who maybe has, purchased multiple properties already. It's for the person who hasn't maybe bought their first, and or is trying to buy their second, and trying to figure out, how do I do that? Because we're going to talk to you about budgeting, how to reduce debt, because absolutely, if you have debt, it's going to be a holdup. It may even be it's going to inhibit you from actually qualifying. And so we can talk about how to, and what kind of strategies we would put in place to help you get that under control. We're going to talk to you about credit, because even if your credit is good, you can always benefit from understanding how to monitor, because there's many people that have great credit scores that have never pulled the report to see even what's on it and know what it consists of. Using your credit even to help partner with others who maybe don't have good credit is also an excellent way to maybe get yourself, to sort of leverage your credit and build additionally, because maybe that you can find a partner who doesn't have great credit but has income, or they have capital, and you can partner and share what each other's strengths. We also will help you understand how to analyze properties, how to generate income and cash flowing properties. Because I've never, ever bought a property that doesn't cash flow. I think today it's possible to buy properties in the GTA that don't cash flow because they're so overpriced and so expensive. But if I'm buying a property to hold, buy and hold for the long term, I absolutely want it to have cash flow because I know interest rates are low and they'll eventually change. I know that my taxes go up and all my expenses change. And so we teach you how to monitor and manage those variables so that you win, right? And that's why we help you analyze. And before you purchase, once we know that that is what you want, we're going to show you how to analyze it from the perspective. Yes, maybe if you're doing it for your own self and you can afford it, go ahead and do it. But if you're doing it for the purpose of generating income and or building wealth, we need to analyze and see that the numbers can work. We also will help you understand how to buy and hold active investments in real estate. So where you buy a property and you're, taking it on, and maybe you're not going to manage it because you, like Kemba and I, we bought properties outside of the city and outside of a 2-hour radius, and then we'll have it property managed. But if you're buying it and it's close to home and you still want freedom, you might have it managed as well, right? But we'll also talk to you about how to buy passive investments in real estate, because there's a lot of ways to invest in real estate and generate income and generate wealth without buying actual properties that you own and manage. We'll also focus on locations to buy, because today you're absolutely restricted to, buying. But if you were to buy in GTA, you might buy properties that don't have cash flow. So we'll show you places that you can buy and get cash flow, and still have, all the other benefits, maybe property management, maybe generating great, appreciation, maybe not the same appreciation that you get in the GTA, but still appreciating, mortgage pay down, all the other, amazing benefits that real estate afford us to build that wealth. So if you are, that person that feels that you need more, the wealth building series is for you, because I don't think that it's possible to do it all on our own when we take into account all the factors. So Kemba, let's show them, and that's once a week for 6 weeks, starting in March. If you're looking to get your goal of buying a property this year, or buying your next property this year, then that series is absolutely for you. We're going to provide to you a whole set of valuable resources, like our Secrets to Success course. And our Secrets to Success course, some of you, I know you're here tonight, you've participated in that, and that has helped you maybe buy your first property outside of your principal residence, or maybe it's helped you buy outside of the province where you never fathomed buying, beyond where you're familiar and know. You've been able to buy outside of the province. We've got a great story and podcast that we share with that. So that is available for you. That Secrets to Success gives you a lot of information on the process of buying in real estate and owning and managing and analyzing. We also do a credit repair consultation, because you may not need it. And so if you don't need that part, that's fine. We have the budgeting workshop. But if you need the credit repair, along with our book that we offer for free, we're also going to provide that consultation in this wealth building series. We're also going to provide 6 weeks of coaching. And I know that coaching was what helped you buy that property in Kingston, Kemba. It was what helped me make my first, big purchase out in Caledon, and then make a huge profit from it, that then allowed me to buy multiple properties in Toronto. Because at this, many years back, I didn't even own in Toronto. I never even thought of owning in Toronto, because it just always seemed so expensive and out of reach. So I typically had bought where I was familiar, Brampton, even west of Brampton. So we're going to make sure that we provide our expertise, our experience, so that you can have the success that you need. And we're also, for everyone that's attended our sessions, we're providing our generational wealth strategies booklets. It's going to give you a lot of nuggets. I think that without, those real keys and nuggets, it's really tough to be successful. Whether you join the series or not, you definitely need some tips and strategies to be successful in real estate, because you can wing it and maybe be successful. But if you want to be successful, don't wing it. Get the knowledge, get the advice, and build a strong team and network.
Mm-hmm. And we offer a 90-day guarantee with it. So make sure that, you know, you get what you need out of it. It helps you build that confidence, build that comfort level to take action. Because really, sometimes we think that, you know, we can read a lot of stuff on YouTube, on the internet, and, you know, but really the end result is that we want you to take the next steps towards your goals. And so hopefully that will help you. And we give you a guarantee that we'll do that for you.
So Martine, thanks for the advice. Martine says in the chat, you know, make sure that you check your credit on Equifax. And I totally agree. Equifax is typically the one that's relied on by most lenders. But I must say, Martine, for 2 of my approvals with Scotia, they looked to TransUnion. And that's where I discovered that I had outstanding debt with Walmart that I never, ever took on. So I hadn't focused a lot on my TransUnion, and I had to go and repair and fix that. So don't focus on one or the other. Make sure that you take note of both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
I know, it's interesting. I always have interesting stories.
This is just to invite you to join us on our Facebook group. We share our ideas, things that are up and coming, anything that's going on in terms of wealth building and the series that we do. We encourage people to participate, ask questions, put your questions in, and usually that's where we answer some of the questions we get on events like this, and we share additional answers that maybe we're not able to get to throughout the sessions.
Yeah, and we share opportunities there. So when we come across opportunities, whether they be here close to home, I think today I sent off some to Jada to share with you. There's some buying opportunities in the Edmonton area. And so we bring to you, you know, just as much information that can help, you know, help you make great decisions to buy in our local area, as well as outside of the local area, and make great investment choices.
Mm-hmm. Just as a reminder, the roadmap to success, you want to establish your plan, understand the risk that you may be taking on, be tax efficient from the start. So for example, buying your primary residence, you may not have to pay capital gains at the end. There's various strategies that real estate can help you with in terms of taxation, and your accountant can help you there. Grow your network. Again, the network. Do your research. Make sure you're researching the areas you may want to buy, and then don't speculate. Make sure that when you're investing, you're sure about what you're doing, and you've done as much due diligence. You don't go in it with guarantees, but you go in it with comfort level that you've done your best to mitigate any risks that might come up, and invest in yourself. Make sure that you're educating yourself. You're spending the time to learn. You're spending the time to also invest in your properties, because what's the point in buying property that's going to fall apart before it's able to give you the returns, and that it's not helping to make your tenants happy and you're always turning over tenants. Make sure you invest in yourself and your properties. And the pillars around that too are, you know, your estate planning, because this is generational wealth we're talking about. The estate planning means that even if you're 35, as soon as you buy your first car, you should have a will. You should have a will anyway, but once you start acquiring assets, establishing that will is really important. And planning for your estate and getting insurance is also helpful. I know we don't all love insurance, but once you start acquiring assets, and especially if you want to give it to the next generation, insurance can be something that protects them all. Okay, now we're here to the fun part, free stuff.
Yeah, so giveaway. We've got a few.
No, we're 1 minute over, but we won't keep you much longer.
Yeah, and we'll happily after the giveaways answer any questions. So if you do have some questions outside of what's been asked already, we're happy to help answer those.
Mhm.
So, you know, at the outset, Kemba, I didn't say for the free Amazon gift card, we do ask, so maybe you want to snap your picture now of you in this session. We want you to snap a picture of yourself in the session of the screen and maybe just post it on your Instagram or Facebook and tag us. Marcia will type in there our handles so that you can tag us and you'll have a chance to win that $25 Amazon gift card.
Mhm. Okay, so where's the first question for in terms of tickets to the wealth building series? We have a question.
I did have, I have more, not a question, but a finish the statement. So let's see how well you were listening. And you just have to type the answer in the chat, and the first person to type it in will be the lucky winner. So your network equals your, and you just have to type it in. Taryn, I think it was the first. Or
nice.
Taryn,
so we're gonna
no, it was
you.
Rachel. I apologize.
Oh, it is Rachel. Yay, Rachel.
Yay.
Rachel, you've been with us the whole time. So now you're going to join us.
So Rachel was the first to type that in. So thank you. It really is. I mean, if you want to grow your net worth so that, you know, you can build that massive will, because I mean, your will, you need it, whether you have one thing that you own or, you know, 20,000 things that you own that value, you know, is valued over $1 million or multi-mills, right? So you just need to have your net worth grown, and that's going to be key. The other question for our free coaching session, I have it here. Okay. So we shared 5 takeaways. Just type in one of the takeaways that we shared. I'm really asking you to think. It doesn't have to be in the exact wording, but we have to get an idea that you were listening. And I think we have
Kyocera. Are we saying it right? Kyocera?
Yes.
I hope I'm saying it right. You can unmute and say it. No, but you're the winner anyway.
Kai. I don't know if they say the, you know, it's like I almost have to keep some of the letters quiet there. But yes, awesome. And look at them. I got a lot more budgeting, credit repair. We've got a cheerleader there. Dion's cheering on Rachel. Yay.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Oh, she said, yes, it's the right pronunciation. You did good, Kemba. Awesome. So those are our winners for tonight. And you're all winners. You attended and you came, and we're so thankful. We offer to you our free wealth building booklet. We've got our credit repair that you can download and take away. If you can't use it, please share it with someone else that might be able to use it. Your credit is great. If you want to repair it, you know, you're going to be able to, it does so many things for you. You can get great insurance rates, you know, there's a ton of things that it's beneficial to. Seems like I could have Marietta. Thanks, Marietta. She's like, it seems like I could have waited to buy it. Marietta, I think you're a bit more advanced now than just your first purchase, right? We're hoping to help someone who is just sort of getting started or just starting to begin the process. So for sure, there is benefits in our wealth, and it is a great price. I know that someone here tonight may not know that and see that, but not because we're saying it alone, but we know what coaching costs. And this is a great opportunity to get group coaching and to get that goal accomplished this year in 2022, right?
Yes. Okay,
any other
guys.
questions?
Yeah, so questions. Now is for questions. If you want to stay on and ask any questions, please feel free to put it in the chat, or you can even unmute and ask your question.
Yeah, so Tonica, to redeem anything, we will always reach out to you, especially because some of you actually typed your name in, so we know who you are. If you didn't type your name in, it's harder. And I think all the winners had their names, so we know who they are, and we'll reach out to you and connect. One last session. Yes. So thank you. And we've already, I think, did we set up the registration for her already?
No, I don't think we've done any of that yet. So we have to do that for all the winners.
So we will absolutely be in touch. Someone's still being asking to admit them. We're finishing shortly, though. Thank you very much for attending, everyone. If you have any more questions, you can take them to our Facebook group. You can ask us here. We'll stay on for a few more minutes. And we really, really look forward to meeting some of you and maybe having you eventually, when we have live sessions, join us. But if not, you can join us for the wealth building series in March. That will be every Wednesday. And yes, have a wonderful night. Be safe if you're out there at all tonight or you're still on the road. We've got our fair share of snow this year. Oh, someone raised their hands. What does that mean?
Hi, it's Paula. I want to ask a question.
Okay.
You said at the beginning, you said something about in Kingston, you were doing something and you were going to tell us about it. Did you tell us about it? Was it Kingston?
Oh, so yeah. So if you're interested in opportunities that are available in Kingston, we can absolutely share that with you. So the opportunity that we were speaking of, I hope I didn't say that I was sharing it on the call tonight.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay, I might have misinterpreted.
No, it's okay, Paula. Are you looking to buy a multi-unit in Kingston? Because we do get
Yes.
quite a few.
Oh, sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, we do get quite a few, insider information for opportunities in Kingston and areas like that. Are you looking
Okay.
for a multi-unit?
I'm looking to make a first kind of purchase on my own, but I'm looking. It's something I want to do by the end of the year, so I'm just looking at the different options.
Okay, so that's awesome. So yeah, stay connected with us. We're sharing the information too at all times in the Facebook group, because we know that some of you are, not ready to buy immediate, but you're up and coming, right? So this was definitely a multi-unit. The last one, well, both of them, the last two that we've seen in Kingston were 4 units. So if it's for you and you're looking for single residential, that may not be ideal.
Oh, okay. I'm not on Facebook, so I don't get the stuff there.
Oh, no. Okay. So then stay, at least keep connected with us either through Instagram or email.
Okay.
We do our YouTube channel also will keep you abreast of what we've got going on. So yeah.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, no, you're welcome. Kemba, you were going to share something as well, some information.
Oh no, somebody had asked a question in the chat and I was answering it out loud, and then I saw Marcia answered it. So
okay.
Sorry,
there is a session next week. Oh my goodness, we didn't say.
Yes, there is a session next week. So
next week we're talking about locations to buy and taking action. Because it's all about taking action. We can't give you all this information and great and keys and tools without expecting that sometime in the near term you're going to actually go out and do the buy or the purchase.
Yeah, so someone asked if you want to buy out of province, is it hard to buy out of province as a first-time buyer? The only reason it can be hard is that if you're not going to live in a property, you usually lose your 5% down option as a first-time buyer, because you only get that if you're going to be living in the property. So you can definitely say, I'm moving to Edmonton and I'm going to live in it. But usually that's what you have to do. You have to live in the unit to be able to get that 5% down.
But the entry point in other provinces are much lower than Ontario. So, when it's 20% down, it's more manageable and attainable if you're buying, where you're not spending $750,000 or $1 million, right? You can get under 300, you can get under 500, depending on what you're looking for.
Does the Facebook group have particular deals? Is that where you guys post them as well?
We do share the deals and opportunities that we hear of and come up. I mean, some of them we bring directly to you when we know what you're looking for. Especially yourself, Marietta, because I think that's you that's asking. We'll absolutely bring it directly to you. So because we have a better idea for some people what they're looking for. And for example, I came across and heard of, and I don't know if it was you, Kemba, who shared it with me, but someone was talking about some deals in Edmonton. I know you brought some to me as well, Marietta. I didn't think that they were great deals, and I don't want us to go out of province and spend 600,000 on a duplex. If we go out of province and we're spending on a duplex, I'd rather us come in under the, maybe 300,000-400,000.
Yeah.
Especially in Edmonton, because we know that market a little bit. If you're going to somewhere like New Brunswick, you can get it for under 200.
Mhm.
Are those easy to come by, the 200s?
Well, I never say anything is easy in real estate, but they are available. Like there are, like we have, and I think Marietta, you and I spoke, and we're definitely, I'm going to line you up with a realtor out there so that you can start looking at some of those prices.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because there are purchase points under 200,000 with duplex.
What were you guys excited about when you first got on the call? You said you guys closed something. You didn't talk about that. I was interested in knowing a little bit
We
more.
posted a picture on our Instagram today.
Oh, okay.
We bought a property locally here in Brampton, and it's going to be a project. So we're going to share more as it's going to unfold soon. But it's exciting because we're going to it's not just like we bought it just to rent it out. We bought it to do some work. And so it's a bit of a project. And so we'll be doing some sharing of that soon. Kemba, can we say anything more?
It's a fun and interesting project. It has a garden suite, so that's a new option in Brampton now. So that's an interesting way to develop a property now in Brampton, where if you have enough land around your property, you can potentially do that. So this one is an option for us to do that. And then the property as a whole has some other really fantastic opportunities associated with it if we can do one other thing. And so we can't talk about that until we're able to actually accomplish it, really.
Yeah,
But
just leave us on
tomorrow,
the
Marietta, join
cliffhanger.
us. I sent you the invite to tomorrow. So join
Yes,
us and you can learn a little bit more about the opportunities that we're speaking to. And that one will share a little bit more on too.
it's a cliffhanger. Okay, I'll wait.
It is, because
I'll
it's
wait
just, you know what, Marietta, we literally just bought it yesterday. Was it yesterday? I don't even know. I'm losing track of dates. What was that, Kemba? Yesterday? Wednesday?
It was well, really Tuesday, but
Tuesday. Yes, but yesterday we visited. Yeah. So Marietta, we got it. It's a bidding war in a crazy world out there, and we bid it on a few, and we got bumped out of the out of those, and then the next one that we did on Tuesday we got, and so we're excited. It's actually probably the best of the ones that we bid on, but we didn't know that until until it happened. Yeah. Yeah. So
okay, any other questions? Oh, sorry. Any other questions? Oh, thanks, Nisha. We're glad that the sessions are helpful and everybody's getting some value out of it. That's really what's the point. So really, that's great.
Yeah, and just keep sticking around, because if you like real estate, like we like real estate, you're bound to achieve your goals soon, and even just keep learning more to so that you have enough. I guess I think the more confident you feel and knowledge you have, the more likely you're going to do something soon. Yes, because real estate is about buying and waiting, not waiting and buying, right? You don't want to keep waiting, and nothing happens. You want to buy and then do the wait, because if you look at the 10-year challenges that we've shared on our stories and stuff, you'll see that it's huge. If you'd bought back in 2012 and you hold on to 2022, you would be from $500,000 to maybe 1.5 mil today. Amazing, right? So I think that's it. Yeah, we're excited. We'll see some of you tomorrow, and for the rest of you, I hope that you're going to join us in our wealth building series next month. Have a good night, everyone.
Take care. Good night.
Bye, guys.
Good night. Thank you. And Paula, connect with us. You have our email.
Okay, yes, I will.
Okay, awesome. You
March
don't
is
have
a
to be
busy
on
month
you don't
for
have to be
me.
on social media to stick, to hang around us.
So I know March is a busy month for me, so I guess I'll wait till the next session.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't, like, one thing that we're good at is we always bring, more opportunities through the course of the year, and we help people connect, right, in other ways.
You know, I know not everybody's on the Facebook group, Andrea, but maybe the next session we should remind folks too, we do a business day too, that if people have businesses they want to share in there, that's something too, that's a good reason to join. You can network and meet people in there too.
Yeah, if you have a business or opportunities and you want to share them too, because if you come across an opportunity that you can't exercise and use, share it in the group. You know, someone else might be able to use it, especially because we're all coming from different parts of the city and sometimes different parts of the country. Share with us the local experiences that you're having and opportunities that you're seeing, right? Or even just news about real estate. Like, you know, I saw the other day an article and a piece on how Kitchener has now become, you know, average sale price is like over $1 million. And I'm like, when I bought in that area several years ago, it was just so much more affordable. Today, it's not as affordable, right? So share with us that kind of information. We like to learn. So thanks everyone for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next week and some of you tomorrow as well. Good night.
Yes, I will
Good
be there.
night.
Okay, good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.